What's going on, YouTube? So after running Kabuto, we had to run Omastar as well. Lord Helix needs his run. Looking at its stats, its 115 base special is amazing. It's gonna be great for utilizing attacks like Surf, Ice Beam, Blizzard later on in the run. Which, speaking of those moves, looking at its TMs, it learns the typical water Pokemon TMs, but we also get access to moves like Body Slam, Seismic Toss, which came in handy for Kabutops and will probably be used for Misty. But in terms of its level up moves, there's not a lot to be desired. We're going to be keeping Withdraw throughout the playthrough for badge boost purposes, but everything else will be replaced or not even learned. I'm a huge fan of Kabutops, but I believe Omastar is going to have the superior run between the two. Not just because its stats are in better spots where it matters in solo runs, but the Brock battle is also a lot quicker. Like with Kabutops, I took on all of the bug catchers and the Junior Light Years trainer, and Omastar is able to beat both Geodude and Onix in a single blow. Like with Kabutops, I want to level against the early in-game trainers because the early experience is going to help out later on. And unlike Kabutops, Omastar does not need to pick up the TM for Water Gun when we go into Mount Moon, but the one thing we will be doing is taking the Helix fossil, because Lord Helix resurrects his own kind. And after these Clefairy encounters, because we get 2 in a row at the end of Mount Moon, we can get our post-Mount Moon in-game timestamp. And to no surprise, it is ahead of pace of Kabutops, 32 minutes in-game time. We have to decide between Rival 2 and Misty, and I decide to take on Rival 2 next. He leads with Pidgeotto, and the battle starts in the most annoying way. I get hit with not 1, but 2 sand attacks. Thankfully, I do hit all 3 of my water guns against Pidgeotto, and we're able to knock it out over those 3 turns. Abra is next, and it's no threat. Thankfully, I hit Horn Attack right away. It goes down in 1 hit. But I really should have set up against it watching this footage back. I decide to set up against Rattata here. It's hitting me with Tail Whip sometimes as I go for Withdraw, which is further badge boosting my attack, which I'll need for Bulbasaur. Horn Attack one-shots Rattata, and all that's left is Bulbasaur now. My second Horn Attack hits, nearly one-shotting it. It sets up Leech Seed, which kind of puts me on a timer. Vine Whip does huge damage, and I just need to hit one more time, which I do, and we've made it by Rival 2. We're going to heal up before we go through Nugget Bridge, and we're going to follow a similar path like Kabutops did. We're going to battle all of the optional hikers we come across because I want these early levels, because like Kabutops, Omastar can learn TM19 Seismic Toss. And like it did for Kabutops, it's going to come in handy against Misty. But the biggest difference maker between the two is Omastar's greater special stat. Water Gun does next to nothing against it, and Seismic Toss is a 2-hit KO on Staryu. Starmie comes out, and it's a 3-hit KO. We get lucky with a turn 1 X defend because Bubble Beam followed by Water Gun both crit, but thanks to a superior special stat, we can tank both and get the win on our first try. And of course, our prize for winning is TM11 Bubble Beam, which is going to go on our moveset right away. But our moveset is going to get another upgrade very shortly. So let's go ahead and pick this up in Vermilion City on the SSN, where we can battle the one youngster in here, get TM08 Body Slam, which will be an upgrade over Horn Attack, and take on Rival 3. And while all of his Pokemon are in their middle evolutions or final evolutions now, this battle isn't a problem for Omastar. The first 3 Pokemon all go down in 1 hit, and really the only worry is Ivysaur because you don't want to see Vine Whip. We had to set up badge boost for the last battle and had to worry about Sand Attack, but Body Slam does half, paralyzes it, it's fully paralyzed, and we get through this one pretty easily. Now I'm going to take a bit of a risk next. I'm going to opt for the early Surge battle because I'd rather not backtrack, and getting Fly once we get to Celadon, we can get around the world map a lot easier. And although Omastar is slower than Kabutops and has lower attack, I'm hoping that the higher special can be a difference maker in the Surge battle. Surge leads with Voltorb, and we really don't want to see Sonic Boom. We want Screech for badge boost. It misses at turn 1, and we get Sonic Boom turn 2. I've got 2 withdraws set up, as Screech undoes them, but badge boosts our attack. I decide to squeeze in one more withdrawal before finishing off Voltorb. Pikachu's next, and we both get a Gen 1 miss with Thundershock and Body Slam. The next turn, Thundershock doesn't do much as Body Slam one-hit KOs it. But Raichu outspeeds, Thunderbolt brings me to 4 HP, Body Slam can't get the one hit, and it finishes me the next turn. I try again immediately, but the second battle goes worse. Voltorb is able to get off 2 Sonic Booms against me, so I go into Pikachu with 37 health, and it uses Thunder Wave right away. Body Slam still gets the one shot, but we're not going to outspeed Raichu. It goes for Thunderbolt, and that's another loss. I thought about just skipping Surge after back-to-back losses, but I decided to give it one more try. In the third attempt, Voltorb cooperates by going for Tackle. I go straight offensive with Body Slam, and we manage to paralyze it. I try to set up some withdraws for badge boost, and Voltorb even throws a Screech our way to give us a further badge boost. After 3 withdraws and a Screech, we have 4 total. We knock out Voltorb. Pikachu paralyzes us once again, but we knock it out with Body Slam. Even if we weren't paralyzed, Raichu would still outspeed us. Thunderbolt does big damage. Body Slam does over half. We even crit. We get an X speed, but we're fully paralyzed. And Thundershock, we survive on 6 HP. Maybe that was the game's way of throwing me a bone after being fully paralyzed when we could have won there. Either way, I'll take it. Lord Helix is moving on to Rock Tunnel, which there's nothing in Rock Tunnel that poses a threat, so let's pick this up at our post-Rock Tunnel timestamp. And we're at 1 hour 23 minutes in-game time, and I want to bring something up real quick. I know throughout the majority of the run I've been referring to Lord Helix as Omastar, but I've also heard it pronounced Omastar. Not sure which one is the right one. I think I heard in the anime it's Omastar, but I'm probably still going to call it Omastar throughout this run. But let's just head to the Rocket Game Corner, where we can take on Giovanni. And we have a Water move for his first 2 Pokemon, we have Rock typing for Kangaskhan, Bubble Beam one-shots the Onix, Bubble Beam will one-shot the Rhyhorn, and while Bubble Beam is a 2-shot on Kangaskhan, it wastes our time by getting a 5-turn Comet Punch, and then Giovanni just goes for a Guard Spec on the second turn. With Giovanni out of the way, we're going to do some shopping in Celadon next, and I'm going to do some things that I didn't do with Kabutops. The 2 main things is the vitamins that I buy. I'm going to be buying calciums for Omastar. Special's our best stat, so I want to max that out as much as possible. The second is going to be buying a freshwater to give to the little girl so that we can get TM13 Ice Beam. I think I made a mistake by not teaching this right away, but we're going to head to Pokemon Tower to take on Rival 4 next. And not having Ice Beam on my moveset affects me here. Bubble Beam isn't a one-shot on Pidgeotto as it gets off a Sand attack. We do hit the next Bubble Beam to knock it out, but now we have a Gyarados to deal with. Body Slam misses as Hydro Pump does about a third of my HP. We do paralyze Gyarados with the next Body Slam, but Hydro Pump hits again, and maybe it's doing a little less than a third. But now 1 more and we're done. Thankfully we get some luck with Parahacks and Body Slam getting through the Sand attacks to knock out Gyarados. We level up going into Growlithe, who could knock us out with any attack. Thankfully Bubble Beam hits and knocks it out. But now Kadabra, we don't knock it out, and it goes for Confusion, and we're done. I learned my lesson from the first battle and decide to teach Ice Beam. We one-shot Pidgeotto thanks to a critical hit. Gyarados is a 3-shot with Ice Beam, and we even get a Hydro Pump miss, which is nice. We can knock it out, level up going into Growlithe, who again goes down to 1 Bubble Beam. Kadabra, I'm gonna go for Body Slam, it's a 1-shot, and all that's left is Ivysaur, who goes down to 1 Ice Beam. Rival 4 made much easier by just teaching 1 move. Nothing exciting happens in Pokemon Tower, but Omastar does have a much easier time than Kabutops thanks to a higher special stat. But after Pokemon Tower, of course we need to decide where to go next. Do we want to head to Silphco? Do we want to head to Fuchsia City? What's going to be our move? And I decide to head to Fuchsia City. But more importantly, I'm going to head to the Safari Zone first. And there's a big reason why, and you've heard me make this rant in the last few videos about teaching Surf to a water Pokemon. Well, in Omastar's case, with its 115 base special, I'm going to teach it Surf. And our moveset really isn't going to change much from here until the end of the game. We're probably going to replace Ice Beam with Blizzard. Withdraw is on our moveset to stay for the entirety of the game for badge boost purposes, and I'll probably end up replacing Body Slam for Mimic at some point. But anyway, after getting Surf from the Safari Zone, we're going to put it on Omastar's moveset right away, and then we're going to take on Koga. He leads with his first Coughing. I'm going to go for Surf, and surprisingly, it's a one-shot. I thought it would be a two-shot. We level up going into Muck, and Surf is a two-shot on it. Thankfully, it misses Poison Gas. We can knock it out the next turn. Coughing number 2 comes out, and since the first one was a one-shot, this one is too, although a crit helps. Last is Wheezing. It goes for Sludge, not doing much but poisons me. Surf looks like a 3-hit KO, and then it blows up, which thanks to being part Rock type, doesn't do much damage to us. With Koga out of the way, I usually like to go to Silph at this point in the run, but I think I'm going to go to Cinnabar Island instead. We have a type advantage over Blaine, and getting his badge will give us a boost to our special stat, along with badge boosting our special every time we use Withdraw. Not to mention, I can pick up the TM for Blizzard within Cinnabar Mansion. But let's get into this Blaine battle. His first 3 Pokemon are all one-shots with Surf, doing very minimal damage to us. Arcanine is a 2-shot with Surf, and its Fire Blast and Takedown do pathetic damage to Omastar. Volcano badge in hand, it's now time to make our way to Silph. It's the only place we can go in order to advance the plot, and of course, you know, we have the battle against rival Fivel. So let's just get right into it. He leads with Pidgeot, and I don't want to set up quite yet because I'm going to level in the middle of the battle. Wing Attack does 4 HP as Ice Beam knocks it out in one hit. Gyarados is next. Hydro Pump looks like it's doing about a quarter of my HP. Ice Beam does over half thanks to a crit, and we knock it out the next turn thanks to Hydro Pump missing. We level up going into Growlithe, and this is where I'm going to set up 6 withdraws. Growlithe helps out by going for Leer a few times to further badge boost us as we knock it out. And from here, we can outspeed Alakazam and one-shot it with Body Slam, and we're going to outspeed Venusaur and one-shot it as well with Ice Beam. First try rival Fivel, you always love to see it, and let's go ahead and get Giovanni out of the way. And just like with Blaine, his entire team is a one-shot sweep with Surf. Well, I shouldn't say just like Blaine, since Arcanine withstood a Surf. We have 3 gym leaders left, so let's go ahead and take care of Sabrina while we're still in Saffron. I don't anticipate her being too difficult. We do have high special and high defense, but her Pokemon are most definitely going to outspeed us. I decide I'm going to set up on the Kadabra, who does outspeed me and goes for Psybeam. It doesn't do too much damage. 1 withdraw, another Psybeam, 2 withdraw. We now outspeed it, Body Slam one-shots it. Against Mr. Mime, I switched to Surf, which also one-shots it, kind of surprised me. Venomoth is next, and Surf one-shots it thanks to a crit, but we level up going into Alakazam, so all of our badge boosts are gone. Alakazam outspeeds and goes for Reflect, so Body Slam does minimal damage. Psywave misses as Surf does big damage. Psywave then does maybe 10 HP, and we knock it out. So let's go in rapid fire succession here with the remaining gym leaders. Since we outlevel Erica's team by at least 16 levels, we're able to outspeed and one-shot Victory Bell, Tangela, and Vileplume with Ice Beam. All that's left is Giovanni for the final time, and just like Giovanni at Silph, all of his Pokemon are a one-shot sweep with Surf. That's all 8 gym badges down, with the 6 toughest trainers left in the game. That's including Rival 6. Who we're going to battle now, and I don't anticipate this battle being too difficult. Rival 6 leads with Pidgeot. Pidgeot does outspeed, it goes for agility, wasting its turn. Ice Beam is going to get the one hit. Against Rhyhorn, I'm going to set up 6 withdraws to fully badge boost, and any Leers we get along the way will help. After we're fully set up, we knock it out with Silph, and next is Gyarados. Ice Beam does over half thanks to a crit, and Hydro Pump does minimal damage. We knock out Gyarados, and next is Growlithe. Silph will one-shot it, but we're about to level up. We will level up after Alakazam, who we outspeed. Body Slam isn't able to get the one-shot, Psybeam does minimal damage, and we knock it out the next turn. But now, we're not going to outspeed Venusaur, and it hits me with Razor Leaf, knocking me out. I popped a rare candy and tried this again following the same strategy, but once again, after knocking out Alakazam, we leveled up, eliminating our badge boost, and Venusaur knocked me out. I decided to use rare candies to bring myself to level 53 for the next damage rounding threshold. Once again, we knock out Pidgeot with one Ice Beam, we set up 6 withdraws on the Rhyhorn, and then knock it out with Silph. Gyarados is next. Ice Beam can't get the one hit, and Hydro Pump gets a massive critical hit. We take it out the next turn, and from here, both Growlithe and Alakazam are one hits, and the most important part is we don't level up after knocking out the Alakazam. And with badge boost still intact, we're able to outspeed Venusaur and one-shot it with Ice Beam, leveling up after the battle. And with Rival 6 out of the way, it's time to talk about the league. But honestly, I don't see them being very difficult. I could see the most difficult being Agatha, since her Pokemon have high special and, well, we're primarily a special attacker. It's going to be more of, can we manipulate our experience points to where we're not going to level up during a battle so that we can keep our badge boost. I don't need to ramble about this any longer though. Let's pick this up in Lorelei's chamber and take on the league. Lorelei leads with Dewgong. I want to set up 6 withdraws on it, and it just spams rest, which helps me out. After I fully set up, I go for Silph. It does over half as Dewgong goes for rest again. Body Slam looks like it's doing the same amount of damage, but we're able to 2-shot the Dewgong. Cloyster is next, and Silph nearly one-shots it. Lorelei goes for a Super Potion, so we're able to knock it out the next turn. Next is the very tanky Slowbro. Body Slam looks like it's a 3-hit KO. Slowbro just goes for Water Gun and then Withdraw, as we're able to knock it out over 3 Body Slams. Jinx is next, and Body Slam is going to one-shot it as well. It has paper-thin defense. But last is Lapras. Body Slam is doing about a quarter, Hydro Pump misses, okay, Body Slam's a 3-shot, Hydro Pump does nothing, and we knock it out. And we level after the battle. So experience points managed and manipulated. And next up is Bruno, and I'll make this very brief. I set up 3 withdraws because I want to make sure I one-shot the Machamp, and Silph is able to one-shot his entire team. We level up at the end of this battle, which is perfect, considering we have Agatha next. I'm going to use 2 rare candies to bring us to level 60 to get us to the next damage rounding threshold, along with replacing Body Slam for Mimic, because I feel like we're definitely going to have to Mimic Hypnosis in this next battle, because I feel like we're not going to get any one-shots against her ghost Pokemon. She leads with her first Gengar. I go for Withdraw for some badge boost because I want to outspeed. It misses Hypnosis and then hits me with Nightshade. I go for Mimic and Mimic Hypnosis. It goes for Dream Eater and Hypnosis hits. I go for Silph just to test damage and it's doing well over half. I decide let's just knock this thing out. And hopefully Golbat doesn't haze me, bro. Thanks to the badge boost from Withdraw, we do outspeed it and one-shot it with Ice Beam. Haunter is next. It wastes its turn going for Dream Eater. I go for Ice Beam when I should've went for Silph. It hits me with Nightshade, and Silph knocks it out. Arbok follows. We're able to one-shot it with Silph, and all that's left is the final Gengar. It does outspeed me and hits me with Nightshade. Hypnosis please hit, and it does. And from here, we can knock it out with 2 Silphs. That was a close one, but thanks to good luck with Hypnosis, we were able to get by. And next is Lance. Before the battle, I check my experience points. Since I'm close to leveling up, I'm going to pop 3 rare candies to bring myself to level 63 over the next damage rounding threshold. And as long as Gyarados doesn't deal too much damage to us, this battle's going to be easy. Well, Ice Beam looks like it's about a 3-hit KO on Gyarados, while Hydro Pump does massive damage thanks to a crit, bringing me to 58 HP. I get a crit of my own to knock Gyarados out, And from here, the battle is a one-shot sweep on the rest of Lance's Pokemon. While Aerodactyl and Dragonite are both able to get off a Hyper Beam and Slam against me, neither of them crit, and we end the battle with 20 HP. All that's left is the champion for Lord Helix. Will it prove to be superior over Lord Dome? There's only one way to find out. He leads with Pidgeot. I don't want to set up against it. It goes for Wing Attack, getting a critical hit, not doing much. Ice Beam gets a critical hit of its own to one-shot it. We level up going into Alakazam, who goes for Psychic and gets a massive critical hit to bring me to yellow health. Surf, thankfully, gets a critical hit of its own to one-shot Alakazam. Next is Rhydon, and this is the Pokemon I want to set up on. I'm going to go for 6 withdraws to make sure I outspeed everything. It would have been nice if Rhydon would have thrown some Leers my way, but it just goes for Fury Attack and Horn Drill. After I fully set up, I knock it out with Surf. Gyarados is next. We outspeed, and Ice Beam gets a lucky freeze. I think I misclicked here because I accidentally picked Mimic, and well, I have to mimic something, so let's take Hyper Beam. We knock out Gyarados with another Ice Beam, and there's only 2 Pokemon left. Arcanine is next, we outspeed it, Surf's going to one-shot it, and all we need is to not crit against Venusaur. We go for Ice Beam, we don't get a critical hit, and we win. And fitting that we level up at the end of the battle, but that's it. Lord Helix has done it, and beat the Elite Four on its first try as well. And I had a lot of fun with this run. But I think after this one, we're going to take a break from the water Pokemon that we've been doing on the channel, and do a different one, which you'll find out at the end of this video. But of course, right now you'll want to know how Lord Helix finished. Well, at level 65, with a final in-game time of 3 hours and 16 minutes, it's one of the best we've done on the channel. In terms of Kanto only runs, Omastar right now finds itself with the 5th overall spot. This one took a little bit longer to get out to you guys. I've been busy with some things in my personal life and work life and all that, but as always, I want to say thank you for the continued support on the channel. In the next video, we're going to see how Lord Amber does, and see how Aerodactyl performs in a solo run of Pokemon Red and Blue. Now I will say, it's not as good as Kabutops or Omastar, but I think I did pretty well for it. And of course, it's time for a football plug. My Detroit Lions are off to the NFC Championship game. Their second in team history, and the first time since 1991. So whether you're a Lions fan or not, do me a favor, and just put in the comments #OnePride to show me that you support, and hopefully they can make it to their first ever Super Bowl appearance this Sunday. I'm going to get started on the next video, and I'm just going to say now, make sure you watch the next video all the way to the end, because I've got a special announcement coming at the end of Aerodactyl. I'll catch you in the next one, everybody, but until then, take care, and go Lions.